What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Collecting Profit with your two humble hosts, myself, Michael, and my partner in crime, Anthony. Anthony, how are you doing today, fine sir?
Fantabulous, man. Appreciate you having me yet again.
Yes. Always, sir. Always. You can't do the show without you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, technically you could. It just wouldn't be as good
This
looking.
wouldn't be as good.
The show would go on as it has in the past. But
yeah, we were looking to, we were trying to have some guests tonight, Lootbox TV. Not exactly sure what happened. If they show up, we'll get them on. If not, sorry. So all of those of you who were probably coming here looking for them, sorry, you're stuck with just the two of us.
they still may be rolling down the street, sipping on gin and juice. I just completely botched that Snoop Dogg reference. But being that they're called gin and juice, rolling down the street, I believe, smoking Indo, sipping on gin and juice is where I was going with that. So my apologies to the great Calvin Brodus out there if he's watching, which I highly doubt he is. By that I mean Snoop Doggy Dogg.
So we got some peeps here. Ryan, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for going ahead and hanging out and popping over here. Maddie Ice Baby, earlier in a stream just before this, Maddie Ice was a winner of a giveaway credit to my rip and ship for tomorrow night.
Nice. Congratulations, brother.
Will Voggs, thank you, sir, for being here. Rocky, what's happening, brother? Hope all is well. What else we got here? Rocky. We have the Jedi Master. We got ripping and a flipping. I was watching him. He was live the other day. I caught a little bit of it using buysportscards.com. He was doing a live listings.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
How's it going? I'm pretty sure, didn't we offer that I was gonna give away a slab to whoever did the most listing on there?
You did.
Whatever. So yeah.
You did, sir.
Do we have a winner on that, or guys in the chat?
I think we asked them to go back. If I am correct, I believe the ask. Oh, look at this! Here he comes! Oh my goodness gracious!
Yo,
it's a legend.
Sorry, guys. My camera is not working.
It's all good.
And I've been panicking for like 5 minutes trying to get this thing to work. And for whatever reason, I don't think I can get it to function.
Well, everybody, that is the mystery guest, Mr. Juice.
What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing well. I appreciate you guys having me.
Oh, man, thank you so much. Been a long time. I know we have been trying to see if we could meet up and do a box battle or do something, or just BS at a card shop or something somewhere for a while now.
Yeah, and I'm definitely open to still do something along those lines. We just gotta make sure it lines up. We actually just moved into a house recently, me and my girlfriend, and it's just been a wild 60 days for me.
Yeah, well, and you you've been traveling a lot, man. You got all these card shows to go to and everything and stuff.
Buddy, I still have boxes everywhere, and we've been in this place for 2 months now, and it's like you said, traveling left and right.
Yeah, but the studio is set up.
Partially, I still got to get lights. I still got to. You guys can't see the floor, but behind Andrew and I,
yeah,
there is nothing but closed brown boxes everywhere.
Wow.
So I still got to move all that around.
That is cool. So everybody, this is Juice, one half of Gin and Juice. So Juice and Gin, Lootbox TV.
Yes, sir.
So well, I mean, I'll give you the floor if you want to say anything, and then we can just get into some answer them some, and we ask the tough questions. We are not,
I'm ready.
We ask the hard ones.
I am ready for them. I mean, I know. Just thank you for having me. Next time we definitely should do this again too. I'll make sure I can get Jen on, and you can get both of us on here, and we can rock and roll together and do this again.
Awesome.
But bring it. Bring the hard questions. Let's make it happen.
All right. So you guys actually started off more at Pokemon channel, didn't you?
Yeah, I've had my YouTube channel now for since like 2015,
Oh, wow.
and I've been doing. I started doing like video game content, and a lot of that stuff was, um, it was really competitive. Like the space was competitive. It was very tough to grow, and I just realized, if I'm putting in the effort, at least I want to, start doing something that I really wanted to do that was entertaining for myself. And then
Right.
hopefully that would help me entertain others. Because when you play video games, stuff like that, you get so competitive sometimes that would just frustrate myself. And it was like, at the end of the day, I wasn't always having fun. So I decided to start opening up Pokemon cards. And it was the vintage stuff before the boom. So I was able to get a lot of these first edition packs for like $75 before they went to like $600.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
So I was able to get a lot of that stuff started opening up, and then formed a friendship with Jin. We started talking. I saw he never opened up Pokemon. He was more of a Magic guy way back in the day,
Oh, wow.
and he opened up a Pokemon box, and I told him about the chase card I was going for, and he pulled it before me. And once he pulled that and saw the value and like the collecting aspect behind Pokemon, he was like, "Oh, I'm hooked. I'm in." And then he pulls the card again a couple boxes later, and I still have yet today have not pulled that card, and I've opened up 30 booster boxes of this particular card.
Oh,
But
wow.
that's kind of how we started. I asked Jen to participate and be a part of the channel a little bit more to basically make sure I could consistently pump out videos, right? Being
Right.
consistent is like the biggest thing that you can be from making content and so forth, right? And I figured, hey, if we both are paying for stuff, we could pump out the content and be entertaining. And Jen didn't even want to be on camera or like at least break. He wanted to be in the background, which a lot of the videos you could tell that he's just sitting in the background. He just didn't want to. He just wanted to be there and be, entertained. He didn't really want to be a content creator.
Yeah.
And then all the comments was like, "Yo, you got to let the other guy open every once in a while too." And I'm like out here, I'm like, "Dude, it's his choice. Like, what do you want me to do?"
Yeah.
So I finally nudged him enough to at least sit next to me, and then all of a sudden he started opening, and that kind of like his personality and stuff came out too a little bit, which is really cool to see. And for the past almost 3 years now, we've been opening up consistently. Actually, probably almost for 4 years. We started in 2019, the summer of 2019, open up together. Yeah, and it's been fun ever since. We made our transition to sports because Pokemon kind of got wild, and it was a wild time for everything. Right, everything started booming. Even sports started booming.
Oh, yeah.
But the potential of sports, of what you were spending, you had a better chance of a decent return. With Pokemon, you paid the exorbitant price, and you had basically a 33% chance to basically make half your money back. So you didn't even make, you weren't even guaranteed to make all your money back. Like it was like if you pulled a hollow, then you were able to potentially get money back, but then it had to grade well, and if it didn't grade well, you broke even. So
So
it was really
were you doing sports cards while you were at that Pokemon point, or
Oh
was
yeah,
that more of a transaction? A
no,
transition.
yeah, maybe a little bit of both. I mean, I've been collecting sports cards since I was like 6 years old, right? It started with baseball in the mid '90s. Ken Griffey Jr., Alex Rodriguez. I was a big Mariners guy, living out um, in the Philadelphia area, ironically. And then because everybody loved Ken Griffey Jr. growing up, every kid wanted to.
Oh,
I
yeah.
see you got your backwards hat on right now, right? He's the
Yeah.
guy that started it. My,
Absolutely.
my grandfather was like, "Oh, you dang kids in your backwards hat," blah 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 blah. So then, like he started taking me to the Phillies game, and clearly I fell in love with the Philadelphia Phillies and so forth. But I mean, Ken Griffey Jr. started it all for me when it came to collecting. Then I slowly got into basketball cards there at the late '90s. But then when Pokemon came out, I was 11, 12 years old, and that kind of took the nation by storm growing up, and that's kind of like where I collected. And then I stopped when I got into middle school, high school, and then I only started collecting again probably around like 2016, buying a couple packs every now and then just for fun. Um, and then it really picked it back up in 2019. And I was
Yeah.
collecting almost everything at that point. Pokemon was the main focus, but I would jump into sports every now and then.
You ever play the TCG, or did you just collect it?
Oh yeah, I played. I was in a couple tournaments in the mall when I was little.
Nice.
Used to go to card shops and play around every once in a while. I like to play like Magic or something like that a little bit more, but I have played the TCG.
That's really cool. Yeah, I told Michael, because when he was telling me like that was kind of how you guys started, I was like, well, that's funny, because that was technically how my channel started, like way back in the day. But then I deleted it because it like really never went anywhere. But then I restarted it again like years later, and just have been consistent with it because I'm just having a blast with it, with like all the sports cards and everything. I'm just huge degenerate and everything. As I'm sure, I mean, you rip boxes that are like
buddy.
1,000, so you know
Buddy, the debauchery is huge over here.
Absolutely. Yeah, but I mean, I really enjoy where you guys have come from, and to see the evolution of the channel, and to kind of see you guys be successful with different things too. It's been cool.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
We the thought process was I just wanted people to experience what we were doing.
Yep.
We are going to reopen up this product regardless. And I think a lot of people don't understand that, and they might think we're a little bit crazy, but we're just filming our experience.
Mm-hmm.
And if, at least when I'm open up this product, if I'm able to share it with you, great. Like for instance, I purchased a flawless box yesterday. And then 2 hours later, I told Jen to come over. Boom, came over. We ripped it. I had it up today, and it was just the experience of buying that box and taking the gamble. And it's different than going to Vegas. I go to Vegas, I might put, say, I'll be transparent with you. I paid $4,500 for this box. If I put that in Vegas, that $4,500 could be gone in an instant. I get nothing.
Yeah,
right.
At least with this box, I have some type of value. I've thankfully I pulled a Luca card. A little spoiler warning for anybody out there, but that Luca card was able to give me a decent chunk back of the box. If I choose so, I could turn around and sell.
Yeah.
And at least like I get that, and that somewhat helps with the whole breaking and taking those chances and stuff. But hey, I mean, I have a great opportunity in my life right now where I can spend stupid amounts of money and open up stuff. Um, I do the wise thing in certain areas. You invest, you do other things, but as long as everything else is getting taken care of, and I'm able to do something like this, I figured, you're not
Yeah.
going to be
Well,
able to
I
take
mean,
it when you're gone, right?
right. Oh yeah, and like I said, I was I've been watching you guys probably since I don't know if it was some area, maybe 2020, or maybe just the very beginning of 21, but I think it was probably more in 2020. So it was cool to see all of a sudden, what was the
It was definitely 2020 though, because we met them at the 2020 National, I'm pretty sure. Oh wait, no, because
No,
COVID was that year. It
COVID.
would have been
Yeah,
2021.
It
You're right.
was so
2021.
21. Yeah.
Yeah, my bad.
What was the I mean, because your channel has taken off. What what do you think what did that helped you get that
Yeah.
that leap?
So my background is I'm a director of marketing for a big time company, and
Nice.
marketing is my background.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
I started to experiment a little bit with something called like SEO and a couple other marketing items. And I was able to try to figure out YouTube a little bit. It definitely helped out, but also the products that we would open too, right? Because like there's some people out there that open up, like there's some channels that open up some of the similar product, and you got to have a mix of both the good product and the ability to market pretty well. And if you have that, that's going to allow you to grow pretty rapidly. So it's a bit of a mixture of both. Like if we're opening up a lot of these, other products that people commonly see, it might be a little bit difficult to get that interest. So I think we had a little bit of the flair, like, hey, you're not seeing a lot of this stuff open up every single day or
Yeah.
consistently. On top of, hey, if I do things a certain way, I can get this in the eyeballs, in front of the eyeballs of Michael really quick.
Yeah.
No,
A-
yeah.
I think it's a mixture of both. And we took a lot of chances, a lot of dumb chances, fellas. I mean, I've spent terrible amounts of money that I'm definitely still in the red on, and it's tough. I mean, I'm grateful and thankful for the way the channel has grown,
Mhm.
but I mean, at the same exact time too, the the risk that we've taken, like it still stings a little bit in some aspects.
Yeah,
Right.
for
Well,
sure.
yeah, I mean, for sure, and and I don't know about everybody else, but I want to say thank you for you opening up that stuff because probably 98% of it, I I won't be able to, or at least right now I can't. I shouldn't say won't be able to. Right now I can't, and everything. So I mean,
Mhm.
it's great seeing. I mean, uh, you don't take this the wrong way, but it's kind of
Mm.
like people go to NASCAR to see a car crash,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, when people see people spending a whole bunch of money, they want to see the hit, but
Oh
they,
hell yeah.
but they don't feel that bad if all of a sudden, the box isn't, oh my gosh, loaded massively, from that standpoint, but you guys do a great job of it. I mean, you're very transparent in the whole thing on your guys' channel. I mean, you know what you just told us is what you say
Mhm.
on your channel on a normal basis.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's not like you're saying something different. Just that's the way it's me. Like the way you are right. That's the way you guys are. You always talk about it, and you
Yeah.
will say, "Man, we got our asses beat on this one."
Yeah, 100%. And
you
I and
know,
I think that's part of the allure too is name another curator that is open about how much they spend and what they're actually getting. And there's another thing too, and I mean, we dive down this path later on we can, but like there's a lot of also money in the hobby where people are getting paid to open up stuff too and mention other things. We do none of that. We say no to everybody,
yeah. Mm,
absolutely everybody, and we are 100% getting this product on our own. Do I sometimes get a little deal on stuff? Be very transparent with you, of course,
you should.
but it's not what you think. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, a card shop still has to buy something from these distributors
Right.
and
Mhm.
they still have to make a profit. So if the distributor is charging $3,000 for a box and it's normally MSRP, say 4,500, I'm still paying over $3,000 for a box. I'm not going to be paying what they pay. They got to make something.
Right.
For
So
sure.
it's still a tremendous amount, but there's a lot of there's a lot of money in the hobby where people are just buying stuff like look at Whatnot. I mean, man, they
Mhm.
for that flawless break and everything else, they're fronting all that stuff, and I mean, they're taking losses left and right, but
For sure.
I think it takes the joy out of it at times. Like
Mhm.
truly seeing someone spend their own money and the
Oh yeah.
results, you can feel the emotion. Sometimes people are like, "Man, you got like you went from zero to or happy to sad real quick," and I
Yeah.
Yeah.
said, "Well, yeah, I mean,
Right.
we just spent a crap ton of money." And
Yeah.
like, and then people are like, "Oh, you just pulled an awesome vet that's disrespectful to the vet." No, I completely understand the Gary Paytons of the world. Of
Right.
Yeah.
course, they're fantastic, and this is
Mhm.
not about their game. This is about I'm opening up a 2021 product. I want to get a Lamelo Ball, Anthony Edwards if I'm paying all this money, right?
Right.
Yep.
The Gary Payton
Absolutely.
autograph is great, but it's not really
Mhm.
what you're looking for.
Right.
Yeah. The
You
glove's
know,
not going to get the job done in 2023.
Right. No, he did talk to LeBron on the sidelines after one of those, like going into half or something, and then
Mhm.
LeBron came out and just dominated. So whatever Gary Payton said to LeBron, there was something there.
Nice.
yeah. So, um, obviously, you guys are more. You don't really. You do F1, you do soccer, but you're mostly basketball, football. Safe to say.
Yeah. So I mean, it's I'm a big football and basketball guy. Typically, if you see F1, Andrew's the only one buying F1,
No.
and like you see,
Mhm.
like when we open stuff up, it's basically who like If I buy something, I want to open it, I'll open it, or I pass it
Mhm.
off to Drew and say vice versa. And we stick to a lot of the products that I know. But we davy a little bit in soccer or F1 every now and then, but it's not consistent. Baseball is almost obsolete because I know no one in baseball anymore. I only
Right.
know 90 stuff. I can tell you, Jeff Bagwell, Ken Griffey Jr., just go down the list, Cal Ripken, things like that. And I think Jeff Bagwell, by the way, is a wrestler, isn't he?
Back when
But
everything was good with
that's
all them
Buff Bagwell.
steroids.
Oh, yeah, Buff Bagwell. Jeff
Buff
Bagwell is
Bagwell.
is the baddest. See, look, I'm even terrible at that. So
He
baseball is
went to
not my
high school
forte.
right. He went to high school right by where I am. He went to the same high school as my kids.
Yeah. Oh wow.
He
Yeah,
was buff and he had the stuff.
yeah. And he broke his neck and he was done.
Yeah.
True.
So when you're looking at product that you're considering buying, how much is collection? How much is investment? How much is like potentially throwing on your website or throwing on eBay?
Yeah, that's a question we get a lot. 99% of the stuff that you see sold is probably from my collection. Jen's a little bit of a hoarder, so anything he does buy, he holds on to. With me, I try to keep things a little bit liquid, right? Because I constantly want to bring content to everybody.
Mm,
So a
Mhm.
lot of it goes behind that. But I'm very vocal with who I collect. Anything Arizona Wildcats or anybody went to the University of Arizona, that's the college I went to.
yep.
So I'm collecting all of them.
Bear down.
Anything they're down. Anybody that Philadelphia Eagles. I have a ton of Jalen Hurts stuff. Really believe in him. Brian Dawkins is also my guy. Phoenix Suns, 76ers. I try to collect a bunch of stuff from there. But really, my PC revolves around that. There is a couple of one-offs where I do a little bit of investing, where I'll hold on to a couple of Luka Doncic autos that I don't have up. Um, Things like that every now and then. I am doing a little series where um, I'm collecting my top 50 cards that I want in my collection all time.
I was gonna get there.
And we'll wait till to that point to talk about it a little bit more. But it's basically the idea of my collection. So that means that majority of the stuff I'm opening up, I'm not really keeping. Um, like for instance, out of that flawless box, I'll probably keep none of it. I'll probably sell it all.
Mm.
Um, except for one, the Josh Green card. He went to the University of Arizona. I'm going to get it graded and hold on to it. So out of all that, I'm keeping a $200 card.
Right.
So I mean, there's definitely things at PC, but I think everybody's PC is going to be personal to them. I collect a little bit of WWE stuff, so anything Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, basically anything in the Attitude Era, I'm collecting. Yeah, it's just really that type of stuff.
Well, Anthony is a former NWA East Tag Team Champion,
Oh
Very
hell
true.
yeah,
professional wrestler.
Yeah.
dude, that's awesome. I'm gonna have to talk to you a little bit more offline.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I'm all about wrestling. Actually, just went to Mania just a couple months ago. Really
Well,
fun.
culture collision. We were here watching the Rumble.
Yep.
Oh wow, wow.
You know,
I'm about to go to my first WWE event for Raw. I think next month.
Nice.
excellent.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So to segue in, so watching you, I guess it was the other night, and you started with the top 50 cards in your collection.
Yep.
I hope you're able to go ahead and score that Mickey Mantle that you're looking for.
I didn't realize that a PSA 1 is also like 30 grand.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to have to do some wheeling and dealing to get something like that. I hit up Card Collector 2, Ryan, the other day. And I was like, hey, because he's like, hey, I got a couple mantles. I'm like, hey, how much do they actually go for nowadays? And he sends me an eBay listing of like last sold, it was 32 grand. I'm like, Ryan, I don't have 32 grand. I'm putting a Mickey Mantle right now. And
It's a top 50 card, but it's probably
Yeah.
gonna have to be maybe like card 49.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. It's just there's something iconic about a 52 Mantle that everybody talks about.
Yep.
It's the card that always gets the news. To own
Yep.
one of those is just, and to be in the hobby, I think is
Mhm.
really cool.
Yeah.
I'll
Are
get
you
there
aware
someday.
of the two different types of Mickey Mantle 52 cards that they have? I'm pretty sure that there's a type 1 and a type 2. I'm not really sure the differences. I just know that I've seen one time that was a reprint that was a type 1 on the front and a type 2 on the back.
So
And that was
yeah, I know there's a lot of reprints, and I know like the 52 Mantle is also the more desirable than his actual like rookie year one that they
yeah,
considered his real rookie year. But yeah, I'll have to double check on that. But yes, I'm a very aware of a bunch of the reprints, but I'll have to dive in a little bit more and learn a little bit more about it.
yeah.
So the top 50, is it iconic cards that you're looking at? I mean, I'm at, even though I know some of the answers, so but I watched the video. I mean, are they iconic cards across the spectrum, or are they more cards that you like? Man, I love this player. I love this. Or is it a combination of the two that make up the top 50 list?
I love that you brought that up. It's a combination of the two for sure. I mean, there's some iconic cards on here for myself that really mean a lot to me. That are just more of sentimental. The number one card on my list, for example, and it's called a Reshiram and Charizard PSA 10. So remember the story about Andrew pulling a card before me that I
Mhm.
told you guys about at the beginning?
Yeah.
That card was the chase card. So that card now means the world to me because it's something where Andrew and I, it's what we built our friendship off of.
Mm.
It's when we
That's awesome.
started hanging out. It meant so much in the sense of starting the channel. It's a milestone. It's a holy grail. It's a $300 card right now that is means the world to me that I'll never get rid of, and I already have one now. So like that one, almost anytime someone asks me my favorite card, that is almost always on my list as number
That's
one. It
awesome.
always will be on the list, but 9 times out of 10, that's going to be my number one card. But then
That's really
you have like okay, some rookie tickets. Like I love rookie ticket autos. Whether it's the paper or the optic version, I think they're phenomenal. So
cool.
anytime I can get my hands on a rookie ticket auto, um, I love them. I would love to have them part of my collection. Um, a lot of my collection revolves around my favorite players. Allen Iverson, Ken Griffey Jr., LaMelo Ball is an investment piece, for instance. Steve Nash growing up in Phoenix after moving out from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Oh yeah.
Steve Nash was the guy growing up for me. And then, basketball is my favorite sport. And then just having, I hated Kobe Bryant growing up. But, after Kobe retired, you learned how great Kobe Bryant was. And to own a Kobe Bryant rookie card, uh, Gen Mint is something that's on my list. So it's a mixture of everything.
And you,
Like,
you get an appreciation for some of these guys once they retire.
yeah.
You know.
Especially like once you get like a lull of like greatness and then it's like not there anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like some of these guys like Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, like you just take that like talent for granted and then it's gone.
Yeah.
And it's like, man.
We had a question.
Sure.
Do you, as a YouTuber, basically view potential of a product to warrant the price and get the duds and sell them to balance it out?
You are 100% spot on with the way a lot of YouTubers think, especially like myself. I 100%, and this is kind of, there's a lot of discussion behind the scenes. Like, look, as a YouTuber, we all do this because not only do we want to share our experience with people, but anybody that does any content creation at the end of the day wants to grow at some point. They wouldn't just be doing this to do this. They do want to see themselves expand a little bit more. And product plays a role, especially what I do, right? If I'm opening up the same common stuff that everybody else is opening, it's not going to bring the views and the eyeballs that I want.
Right.
So taking that risk and that gamble does definitely help out. What a lot of people don't get is the YouTube side of revenue is not glamorous like people think it is. Like you have to have like over 300,000 subs with a watch time of a certain amount to sniff the 20, 30 grands a month.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like to give you guys an example, I do about $2,000 a month on YouTube. $2,000 a month on average on YouTube comes out to, 24 grand, maybe a little bit more on average a year. 1 year I hit 50 grand. Being very transparent.
Mhm.
If you guys watch the videos, there's sometimes I do 4 videos a week.
Yeah, it's a lot
Where
of video.
if I'm doing 4 videos a week, and I'm averaging probably 2 grand a video, if
Yeah,
that. So that 2 grand a month, you do the math. If I'm doing 16 videos a month, I mean that 2 grand is 1/16 of what I'm doing a month. So it really doesn't help out. Like, of course, I'm thankful for it, but
yeah,
to get to a certain point, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work.
for sure. A lot of investment too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Well, it's the
Yeah.
whole thing. I mean, so just sticking with YouTube for a second. Here's a question. I mean, are you your own editor?
I am the editor. I am the commenter. I am the short maker. I am the thumbnail maker. I am predominantly the one that spends the most money on product. I do it all for Lootbox.
Nice. And you have your full-time job and you travel all the time. Man,
Oh, buddy, I get 5 hours of sleep.
I was gonna say, and every now and again you're able to get a couple of winks in.
Yeah, right.
How do you get it all done, man? Like that's impressive to stay as consistent as you are, and to like how do you manage to do as much and stay as consistent as you've been?
Uh, it's it, it boils down to like probably like more personal pride than anything, I guess. Like I've talked about like I've had the opportunity to open up a lot of this stuff, but it never was the case like that. I grew up pretty poor, and I got to certain points where I was able to, go to college, and that took a while, but I was able to finish college. Never thought I would be able to do that. First person in my family ever to do that.
It's
It gives
awesome,
you
man.
kind of an example of like where you come from, and then really pushing and pushing. It's just I never want to go back to that point, so I'm always a worker. Like I'm not lazy. I was raised by my grandparents, so that old school mentality. Like
Yep.
when I got out of college, the first job I got was a dishwasher at an Elks Lodge. Like it's for those of you that don't know what an Elks Lodge is, it's a club for old people. I like to call it, I guess.
Yeah, definitely know
But
those are.
yeah, and like that was my first job out of college with a bachelor degree. Like I couldn't
Mhm.
just sit there. Like I'm gonna get this job while I look for my main job.
Mhm.
Like
Yep.
that's how I was raised. That's how my mindset is. So I'm constantly working,
Speak my
working to
language, man.
find
I'm
a
from
job.
Pittsburgh. That's how we are, man. Down
Yep,
and dirty, blue collar.
yep. And I think it's personally, I love that feeling. I love that drive. But at the end of the day, too, I mean, my health probably takes a risk. You got to get sleep. You got to treat your body right, especially as we get older. I mean, shit, every time I turn around, I feel like something's breaking on my body. But it's just that fire passion. It's hard to explain. It really is. I mean, I think it culminates with everything that I kind of mentioned, but there's something there that just lights me. And I go,
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely enjoyable to watch, man. And like Michael said, like a lot of these products, that the average Joe like can't ever rip. They get to live vicariously through you. But then the people that are able to rip them, like for example, my buddy Marty, like he's like the town degenerate here in Pittsburgh. Like he'll literally watch some of your videos to like decide, okay, which one am I gonna rip? Because he'll wait to see which ones get you guys skunked, and then he'll be like,
yeah,
okay, I'm gonna pass on this one, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get this one because I saw that they hit big in these boxes. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it is very helpful to people that are looking to go out there and actually drop substantial amounts of money on like wax products to know what are the better ones, which ones give a little bit more value and like that type of stuff. So yeah, I've definitely seen it from both ends of the spectrum there.
yeah, for sure.
So ripping and flipping, basically, what he's saying is, knowing that, you know, a lot of times with with product, with sports cards, you don't always, come out ahead. Um, you know, what is the goal with the YouTube? Obviously, it's sharing. If there was no YouTube, I'm sure you would still be opening up cards, right? You're a hobby,
Yeah.
you're a hobby guy.
Yeah.
This helps you share it. What is the long-term goal? What is, for for Lootbox and you and Andrew and stuff?
Yeah. So the end goal is to turn Lootbox TV into more than just an opening channel, right? And we've been experimenting with a couple of different topics and ideas, and hence why this my top 50 cards thing came up. Because it's not about the opening; it's going to go down a path of collecting and so forth. But the goal is to turn this into a brand that is here for the community.
Mm.
There's a couple of projects that we work on. For instance, there's this app called Collector. Right now, we're only 100% with TCGs, and we're moving over to sports. But sports, all the variations and everything with server costs, it's it's absolutely insane. But that entire app, one thing that we noticed with the community, there's all these apps that people charge for. Like you to get the basic information that people can just spend time looking up on eBay to get a price or something like that. This app, we don't charge anybody anything. We have over 400,000 users that downloaded the app already for the TCG side that track. We were tracking over like $100 million worth of product, a ton of other little things there. But that type of stuff, what we're doing with that app, is what I want Lootbox TV to really become. It's a brand for the community, whether that's a place where people can get information from. Hopefully, it's a place where where I can get more people on the channel and do more different series than just Jen and I, where it's other people, you know, doing their own thing, but using the loot box platform to share their experience.
Yeah.
There's a it's not 100% written in stone, but there's a couple other things that involved going down multiple collecting avenues from TCGs, sports cards, trading cards, even on the gaming side of things. There's a couple ideas in the works, a lot of big dreams, a lot of big hopes. Obviously, we got to start reeling it in a little bit. Breaking can't last forever. It just really can't, especially in the market that we're in now. Thankfully, pricing is going down, but I noticed with opening up products, views are dropping, and it's not the product that we're opening, but it's the hobby in general. I think a lot of individuals are frustrated with the hobby still, with a lot of
Yeah.
breaking and so forth. And I unfortunately get lumped into the breakers that charge people for breaks instead of an individual breaker that breaks for themselves, which is fine, but that's how the internet sees it with
Right.
algorithms and stuff. So overall, you have to always stop and reinvent yourself. And even though we might have these goals for loot box, they're going to be changing a little bit here and there. So kind of a long-winded answer, but to land the plane, it's Lootbox TV. I really want it to be for the community, and that's going to involve a couple different avenues that we're going to go down. And hopefully, we can actually see us touch ground on some of these ideas a little bit more.
That's
Yeah, but
awesome.
and I think what you're saying, when you look at some of the stuff that is going on, I mean, you saw the whole thing, with what was it, Bleacher Breaks, and you see all this other kind of all the different breakers and everything. And I think, sometimes I think some people are finally, they're either, they're seeing a little bit behind the curtain and stuff, and a lot of people like it, and to your point, they take it out on everybody.
Yeah.
They don't just focus it on those few that are, that are not doing the right thing, but they take it out on everybody. And I think you're right. I think we are seeing, things, slowing down. And I think, you're seeing some prices go ahead and come back. Now, are they pre-pandemic pricing yet? I, I don't know, because I really, I never really looked at the higher end stuff because I was never really even collecting the higher end, players,
Right.
from that standpoint, but I mean, I think when you look at a lot of different things, and I think just certain things that happen. I mean, like Zion is a perfect example, man.
Phew.
2019, 2020, whatever it was. I mean, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
you were getting, friggin' stupid money for some of his stuff, and now not so much anymore.
Yeah, and a lot of it, like to your point, it's not pre-pandemic levels and numbers yet, but I mean it's crashing hard. It's tough for me. Like obviously, I waste a lot of money, right? I mean, we all can agree on that, and I'm okay with it.
Don't we
I'm
all?
comfortable with. But what I don't get is I don't get the individuals that during the high of the pandemic spent all these money on cards and then turn around and sell them right now for 70%,
Yeah,
80% of what they bought them for. You bought a card for 100 grand and you're selling it for 20. What are you doing?
right. Yeah,
Like I know I don't have a lot of room to talk with a lot of the stuff that I open up, but I mean at the same exact time, I'm never buying a $100,000 card, and I'm not going to turn around and sell that $100,000 card that I paid for 20 grand. That just doesn't make that's one of the bigger issues of that I think a lot of people don't really shed too much light on. Like there's a lot of people in the hobby that are over leveraged that are just dumping everything and they're really ruining the experience for those true collectors in this space.
yeah. No, that's definitely definitely true. I mean, you see it more and more. And I don't know as far as, I mean, prices again, they've come back, from a it's funny, the retail prices, those type of things, they still seem to, go up a little bit, or not coming back to where they used to be. The higher end stuff, obviously, that is coming, back, a little bit. But I think it's one of those things that's, I mean, I don't know what the level is. It's like I wonder, you hear a lot of people talking about, well, we're still coming down, still coming down, still coming down. I mean, I don't know how much more, like where I mean, we can't get back to pre-pandemic, or could we? Is that a
You,
possibility? What do you think?
I definitely think that where we're at now, get. I know some people calling it worse, some people are calling it a correction, whatever we want to call it. I think we're not at the bottom yet, or whatever that is. It's hard to me. It's hard for me to speculate on a lot of this stuff because I'm not an expert.
Right.
And I try to let people know that all the time. You're not going to come to Lootbox TV and learn what to invest in. You might, if you ask me what I'm investing in, I tell you, I tell everybody, Lobema Ball. People light me up in the comments all the time, telling me I'm a moron, all this, all that, whatever. I mean, I'm going to collect and invest in who I love, and I'll share that with you guys. But by all means, do not come for me and try to get advice because I'll be open and honest with you, but I am no expert. No one. I feel that no one on, and no disrespect to you guys either, but no one on YouTube is an expert. They shouldn't classify
Correct.
themselves as an expert. We are hobbyists. We're giving our opinions. Whatever you do with the answers we give you, that's on you. I never want to guarantee anything. But, in my opinion, I will be open and honest. I think it's going to get a little bit worse. I use the term worse. I think it's going to get to where pandemic levels are at. It's going to keep going down. I don't think we're at the end of it yet, but at the same time too, I'm happy that Donruss, or I'm happy that Optic basketball that just came out, for instance. Optic basketball is under $300 a box when I had to pay $500 last year
Right.
for an Optic box. It keeps going down. That I enjoy because that means more people can potentially buy. Now,
Mhm.
is it where it should be? Shouldn't it be like $100 box? Probably, maybe $75 box. But it's going down in a direction for majority of the hobby, and that's what matters. It's getting worse from an investor standpoint. It's getting worse from the people that put all their money in, but at the same exact time, it's their own risk. But they're also one of the reasons why the hobby is failing.
Yeah, I said, you know what? To me, when I look at certain things, like, all right, like, you're not like, you don't do a lot of baseball. You do very, next to, nil and everything. But it's weird. It's like, to me, like baseball, believe it or not, in my opinion, is a little more of a quicker investment, turnaround type thing than other sports. Because baseball, like you look at this, like Bowman, Bowman that just came out, right? And there's Drew Jones, Andrew Jones' son and everything, and there's a bounty out for his 1/1 super refractor for like $1 million. I think it's up to now.
Yeah.
And nothing against Drew. He may be the next great player, but that card is not worth that amount of money right now. And if you got it, you'd be stupid to keep it in reality.
Oh, 100%. I think the offer is if you sell it right now, it'd be 200 grand. If you keep it, he makes the Hall of Fame, you get $1 million.
Yeah. Okay,
well, if I keep it, he makes the Hall of Fame, that card's going to be worth a lot more than $1 million if you're putting that bounty on it. And he becomes that player that you think he's going to become. But to your point, a lot of these guys, they don't pan out to be these individuals that are going to be the messiah of their generation or of their sport in general.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy. If someone pulls that and they don't sell that for at least 200 grand, now I think they could get more of it because someone did put a 200 grand number on it. And there's got to be somebody else out there crazy enough to pay more than 200 grand.
Oh, sure there is.
If there's 6 figures on a card already and you don't take that right now, you better be well off because that's a life-changing card for somebody.
Yeah. I mean, and how many of those guys that are hyped coming in, like say Drew Jones, like are going to be like a LeBron James that comes in with that hype and actually lives up to it? Because I'd say 9 times out of 10, they bust more than they become like what they're supposed to be. Because even if like they become a very good player, like we were just talking about Gary Payton, he gets 0 hobby love, and he is probably, in my opinion, a top 10 point guard of all time.
100% on the same page with you.
Well, you look, so from a baseball perspective, baseball's been around for many, 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 many years. Ken Griffey Jr. was the first #1 overall pick to make the Hall of Fame.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
So it just goes to show you, that's what gets me. It's like, people are like, hey, I pulled this card. It's worth, $400, but this guy might. I go, do you PC the guy? No. Well, then you might want to consider going ahead and getting rid of it because the chances are it's going to, yes, it could go up, but in baseball, there's more of a chance that it goes down.
Yeah. I'll tell you a story. I went to the Nashville card show recently, a couple months ago, and I had the LeBron James Color Blast that I pulled. I got a PSA 10 on it. I take it with me there to try to move it because, again, I don't collect LeBron like that. I want, an all-card auto of his early on in his career, but I definitely don't like LeBron James like that. So try to move it. Last sold was like $5K. I think we came up with like a $5,500 valuation on the card. I ended up trading it for $2,500 in cash, and Ellie, the Cincinnati Reds guy, his first Bowman on-card auto out of it's green. It's either 99 or 199. So my guys tell me about baseball that this could be a good investment. He valued the card at a time of like $2,000. So I got my value that I guess we put on there figuratively. Then the guy, I guess, gets hurt or something. The card drops. Someone sold their card on eBay for like maybe $1,000, $1,800. So the card's value went down. I'm like, oh man, here we go. Then all of a sudden, now the guy's hot.
Right.
And I had the card sitting on my eBay for $5,000, just sitting it there just to see if people are interested or anything, just to watching where the market goes. But with baseball, in my eyes, baseball, it's so roller coaster with these young guys and these prospects and their first Bowman versus their Bowman rookies. If you're going to get Bowman, you want their Bowman first Bowman. You don't want their rookie card. You want their Topps rookie card. That's where baseball loses me. It's so dynamic and so like you said with this Jones kid, it's his first Bowman. It could happen. The odds of him making it is going to be very slim, but it's these prospecting and this piece that really makes it entertaining, but also at the same time kind of nerve-wracking because, yeah, you can get a quick flip, but at the same time, too, you might be in it for the long haul. And when do you give up?
Right, yeah. Well, here's the one thing. If you do give up, that you can't regret it. You have to just move forward, right? Because and go from there. I think I think with a lot of those guys, again, like you just said, the prospecting is crazy. But again, you look at the standpoint of for instance, LaMelo Ball, even though there are a number of different, brands or series, whatever you want to call them, that came out, you can look to certain ones as his, rookie card. And it's really, that's the way people are going to, look at it. When you look at these baseball players, well, okay, like you said, they got a Bowman first. Then all of a sudden, at some point, they get a Bowman rookie card. Then they might just get plain Bowman. Then they get the Tops and they get a rookie card. And next thing you know, it's like, you're adding on, adding on, adding on. It's like, to your point, which is the one?
Yep.
Like, people know the difference. Like, if you have a Chronicles LaMelo Ball or a Playbook LaMelo Ball, yes, you have a LaMelo Ball rookie card, but you don't have the LaMelo Ball rookie card.
And that's it, to that point. That's why a lot, with football and basketball, getting that Prism card or National Treasures, like you want those cards. Those are the cards for those sport, right? And it's definitely interesting. But baseball could be fun if I actually sat down and understood it, got into it. It could be a really good time. A lot of emotional roller coasters. Be like Vegas all over again.
Yeah, definitely. I'm kind of in the same position as you are with baseball. Like my best buddy Marty is like ripping it like crazy right now, and like I'll follow the Pirates, but the Pirates like they're good this year, but they really haven't been good like in the majority of my life. So I'm like a casual baseball follower, if that makes sense. Yeah. So like chasing after like all of these guys, by the time like I find out who they are, they've most of the time busted already.
Oh, that's funny.
So there's a reason I'm getting them out of dollar boxes. But
That's fair. That's fair. It's funny. Real quick with how you present it, watching baseball and following baseball. I live in Atlanta right now, and obviously I'm a Phillies fan now. And when they made their run last year, that's the only time I was really watching, just because like the people around me that I work with. Braves this, Braves that all year giving me shit. And then all of a sudden the Phillies make that run in that playoffs. Boy, oh boy, they hate it when I came to the office every single day. Because I would let them have it. But I mean, and they were like, you don't even watch. I'm like, that's the glory of it. Like, I appreciate them, but like with you guys rubbing it in, I'll bring up like I'll watch ESPN before I walk in Sports Center just so I could get the highlights of the game. And I go in there and just, oh man, did you see that home run in the ninth? Oh, we were down 2 and came back and won, baby. Woo! Just rubs it in their face.
That's awesome.
No, you're 100% correct on everything. But with your this question just hit me. I don't mean to go back or go all over the place, but with what you open and everything, in your experience, where have you seen the most value? Like, what is there a particular? Is it contenders? Is it flawless? Is there one that kind of gives you the more bang for the buck? Have you seen?
Kind of. It's a lot easier telling you what is trash. For Prism being the product, the hobbies like go-to product for football and basketball, I think there's plenty of other influencers out there, or I think the general hobbyist and just says that Prism is one of the cards they have of a rookie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Prism is the worst pull rate I have ever seen in my entire life, next to Optic.
Really?
Optic and Prism, especially with Prism, for being the front runner of the hobby, it's overprinted. It's a bunch of bull crap. Never ever open up Prism. Just buy the cards you want. Prism has been one of the worst experiences I've ever had. We did hit a big one time by pulling a stained glass Justin Herbert rookie. That's Andrew's his infamous reaction where he goes, "Holy!" And he's like screams at the top of his lungs. and I zoomed in on his face a little bit, and just to see the pure joy of that reaction, it was golden. It's been terrible. I've opened up and spent so much money, especially on the basketball side. That's one of the big things I also absolutely hate when Prism football and Prism basketball, two different products. Even though they have the same name, drastically two different products.
Mm.
With Prism basketball, you get your colors and that's it. Prism football, you get your colors, you get snake skins, you get camos, you get color blast, you get special inserts. With Prism basketball, you get a smaller set of colored parallels, and that's it. And there's so much value, especially now with Prism football when they do like the portraits. This year they have these unique portraits a part of it. With Prism football, basketball you get none of that. So for the basketballs, out of the two sports, basketball's Prism product is the worst product of all time.
Why do you think there's a difference between sports?
Beats the hell out of me, man. It truly does. Like from a marketing standpoint, it doesn't make sense. If Prism is supposed to be that product, you would think for the two biggest sports from a volume standpoint of, I guess, watching and popularity. I get baseball's always been around and it's always huge in the hobby, but this popularity in the United States in general, you would think they would have the same type of checklist or something along those lines, and they just don't. It doesn't make any sense to me. It truly doesn't. Same with Contenders basketball. Now they just changed the Contenders basketball product, but Contenders Optic, for instance, in football, you get 2 Optic autos, which Optic is a great product. The product right now, Optic football, if you can get it for a reasonable price, I think is one of the best products at Rip from a value standpoint. Optic basketball, you get 1 auto. Why do you get 2 autos in football and 1 auto in basketball and paying the same price?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. But for some, I guess if for some insight with the amount of we do open, the products that I've seen that gives you a better return. This is going to sound crazy. When WWE is cheap, I was getting WWE Prism for $200 a box. One of my boxes had 3 gold cards in it.
That's awesome.
I crushed it. Almost every single box of WWE I've opened up, I at least broke even.
Nice.
Contenders Optic football, I've been opening up a lot of those. I feel if you can get it cheaper, and they will keep going down in price. If you get it around the $200 mark, I think they're a little high at the moment. I think they went up a little bit, but if you get them closer to the 200, 250 mark, you might be able to break even and better chance to pull something big, especially with these rookie ticket autos. I mean, man, the sky's the limit with some of these guys. If you wanted a little bit of bang for your buck, that'll probably be it.
Nice.
Yeah. That does make sense and everything.
World of Wax mentioned. I disagree. Football has more or lesser known players than basketball. Possibility, but also with basketball, it's a lot more difficult to pull the player that you want because the checklist isn't as big as the football checklist, and that's where you would turn around and just buy the basketball product or the basketball card itself rather than opening up from an opening standpoint. Is really where I'm coming from. So I kind of agree with you, but yeah.
Zach is another local guy. He's up in the the Jasper area. To us.
Do you like WWE Prism retail? I haven't opened up too much Prism retail. I know I try to get some retail when I open up some of the shorts, but I stick to like select basketball and a couple other things. I try not to go out too much and grab retail. I kind of just leave it there for other people to purchase. So I haven't actually opened up Prism retail WWE.
Well, no, and you're right, because you look at, like, for instance, WWE Prism, the current one, I think it's like $30 for a blaster. So if you were going to sit there and say, hey, maybe I'm going to buy like 4 or 5 blasters, you're
Yep.
better off getting a hobby box for around the 200. At least you have a better shot at getting good stuff.
At least
Yeah.
you'll get autos.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it may be Marseille or Otis, but at least you're going to get an auto.
Yeah. I've hit some. I pulled so many Dana Brooke redemptions. It's ridiculous. And it's like a $20 card. But I pulled like a flashback Hulk Hogan
That's awesome.
red auto. I can't wait to get that graded. I pulled a Mojo Bret Hart auto. Can't wait to get that graded. I
Yep.
just got. I'll give you a little sneak peek, I guess, or talk about it. We've got a video coming up this week where I got my PSA submission back, and it had 2 gold WWE cards in there, one of them being Sami Zayn.
Nice.
And that's a good one to get, right? It's like there's the checklist is so nice with the. I feel like this year's WWE, they have the right wrestlers in there that are getting that screen time. They shorten up the list. I was actually I'm pretty good friends with Lindsay Dorado,
Oh, nice.
and he he was part of the big cut, unfortunately, but they cut a lot of those individuals down, and that product, this year's product, the checklist has just been phenomenal. And he's like, dude, he was potentially going to get into last year's set too, and unfortunately he just didn't make the cut. But he said that they were all about pushing that and so forth, and really pushing that narrative, but the checklist was just so massive. And I think this is the first year with the right checklist.
Yeah, they got to have the right, they have the right mix. I mean, they have the, the guys, that a lot of people want to see from the older, the older guys, the Macho Man, the Hogans, the Undertakers, those guys, and then they have, the newer guys too, which is, they have a very nice mix,
Yeah.
in their cards. I mean, you can go ahead and you can get Bruno Sammartino, who was from the 70s and stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, no different than you opening up Prism Football when all of a sudden you pull Dick Butkus. But it's different with wrestling than it is when you get an older. What I find is, like I opened up some Prism Football. I got a Dick Butkus, and I was like, oh wow, cool. I opened up a box of Prism Wrestling. I got an Andre the Giant, and I was like, holy cow. That, I'm like, man, that was so much better. But same type of thing, right? You're getting an older guy that you don't, but from that standpoint, but it's, I don't know. I'm trying to, look at it from the perspective, like I said, of if it's something that I think I'm going to open a bunch of, that I want to open a bunch of, I think hobby boxes are really the way to go. I think there are certain stuff where you could still hit. I think maybe from a Topps perspective, I don't think any of the Panini stuff you're really going to see any kind of good hits if you're going to try and go to Walmart and Target. I just don't see it.
Very true. Yeah, very true. But to that point though, it is weird though, because Topps is like the only manufacturer that I've seen massive cards being pulled out of retail. Right. Has been some lucky, and it's crazy. Those 101s, like the Wanda Franco 101. Yeah. There's been a couple others, and it's absolutely crazy. Though I guess Roth cards. You guys know Roth cards?
Yeah.
No. He purchased a 101 LaMelo Ball that someone opened up from one of the Walmart tins where they had 2 Prism packs, 2 retail Prism and 2 optic retail packs, and there was a 101 LaMelo Ball in one of those.
That's insane.
Dang.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely insane. But that's the only time I've ever heard a Panini product. I've heard multiple times that Topps products, they were pulling bangers out of
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, out of Bowman Draft, the last one was what? The Jackson Holiday, out of a Bowman Draft box. It was sitting there. It was Magic Mike on Whatnot offered it on his stream for $400 for the box, personal. Nobody wanted it. He went ahead and ripped it. Boom, and he pulled the I think it was the Jackson Holiday 1 of 1 that had like a 300,000 300K bounty on it.
Wow.
sitting in that damn box, just sitting there.
That is nuts.
Yep.
That is
And he was
nuts.
offering it for 400 on the stream, and nobody would budge. So he just decided afterwards, fine, I'm just going to do a personal rip and everything.
One of the times we were in Dallas at one of the card shows, we were doing a bunch of breaks to like kind of help offset like the hotel, the travel, that kind of stuff. And the one box we didn't sell was it was just like some Sage. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was a hobby box. And in that hobby box had a Trevor Lawrence auto, a Trey Lance auto, and one other of the not quarterbacks that year, but like skill position players that were like notable. And it was like insane. It was like the one box that didn't fill. So we were like, yeah, what the hell? It'll be a Percy. And we ended up getting like 3 of like the top players out of that draft class, all in autographs that year.
That is nuts. That is nearly impossible to do.
Right. So with you and with what you rip and everything like that, what do you think's going to happen as the stuff starts to leave Panini?
I just hope Fanatics doesn't ruin it. There's a lot of things that have been coming out. Obviously, no one has the exact information yet, but there's been, I heard that, Fanatics is all about the hobby shops, hobby shop this, hobby shop that. And I'm a bigger fan of the hobby shops. I talked to Eric Whiteback before, not too long ago, and he had an interesting take where he thought, most hobby shops need to go away or something along those lines. And it was a pretty hot take, and the community kind of gave him some hard feedback. But I tend to agree with the community a little bit. I think the hobby shops are there, and if Fanatics came out and said, yeah, we're going to take care of the hobby shops, but now I'm hearing that they're pushing more towards these high-profile breakers. Like, for instance, with Bowman, there's hobby shops that have been in the business and been loyal to the Topps brand for years, ordering the Garbage Pail Kids and all this other crap that people have to do. Maybe not Garbage Pail. I don't know if it's a Topps product, but you get my point. You order the terrible product in order to get allocation on the bigger product. And now they got the stiff arm. They maybe got 1 or 2 cases of the new Bowman, and these massive breakers got like 30 cases.
Yeah.
And that's Fanatics. It felt like Fanatics flipped the switch a little bit and decided to go with the massive breakers instead of taking care of the hobby shops. And now you can go into the stadiums already and buy hobby boxes of Topps from Fanatics, Lids. I think they own Champs as well. And then some of the stadiums out there, you can go in and buy hobby boxes already of Topps products. So they kind of like, I don't know if they win it. It's tough because I don't have that information, but I got the feeling that, hey, hobby shops are number one for us. Hobby shops this, hobby shops that. And a year later, this is right when they acquired Topps, and not even a year later, it seems like they're going exact opposite, and they're doing exactly opposite of what the hobby wants. And now you got these breakers sitting on 30 cases. They can't really move them because no one wants to pay their outrageous prices. Yeah. Like, there's no reason a breaker should be taking a Bowman box with a few $100s at most, if that, and turning around selling it for $500, $600, $700.
Right.
That is just disgusting.
Well, it's funny. I was watching, you mentioned that. I was watching a little bit of Whatnot, just going around seeing what was going on because somebody was having a Bowman break, and I just saw a Bowman break and a bunch of boxes, and I'm like, oh wow, that's probably, let's see what's breaking in Bowman, right? Hey, will they get the card? Will they get one of those, big cards and everything? And what it was just they were breaking Bowman retail boxes, and towards the end, they had like the Detroit Tigers for $100, and I'm like, who in the hell wants to pay $100 for the Detroit Tigers? I mean, there's only one card worth getting. That's a Riley Green rookie card, but you're not getting anything great. I'm like, and supposedly they had 5 teams left for like the last 12 or 14 hours that they couldn't get rid of. And finally they dropped the prices down to ridiculous money, and people went ahead and bought them.
Yeah,
But to your point, I mean, it was just retail boxes. It wasn't anything special.
that's terrible. And look,
Yeah.
I'm for small businesses making money. I'm for paying a little bit more for quality experience, but these whatnot breakers are, we're given a general term for whatnot breakers, and not just whatnot. It's even on Instagram, things like that.
Yep.
There's these breakers that are trying to become celebrities that are not really taking care of the customer, that are trying to fill these breaks, and they turn around and just being absolute nasty, not sending cards, not refunding people the correct way, cussing people out. Like that's ruining the hobby. That is what
Yeah.
you should not be doing. And it's a shame that big companies like Fanatics are now leaning towards these individuals because they think they can move product and they just care about their bottom dollar. Look, make your money, but there's a difference of making money and then being greedy and
Yep.
being outrageous. And there's no checks and balances for any of these guys. No one on the whatnot platform or even Instagram is out there, you know, being security or holding these breakers accountable. There's no set standard for prices on boxes when it comes to breakers. They can price the box however they want. They can treat everybody the way they however they want, and there's no real repercussions that are coming down on them. And right now, until that changes, the hobby's going to be in flux with a lot of them.
For sure.
Yeah. And I think, that, when you mentioned about what scares me is when Fanatics all of a sudden does have basketball, they have football, they have baseball, they have basically everything of, and be in that much control. It is somewhat scary to wonder what they can do. Do they print like crazy just to go ahead and make sure every single person, that there's enough out there, or do they go the other route? I mean, I guess, like it would be cool to see, Topps Chrome football, Topps Chrome basketball come back, but at the expense of what it could do for the hobby, I don't know if I want that, to be honest with
Yeah,
you.
yeah, and especially right now when if they're not giving to hobby shops, the only way I can get it is going to the mall, where malls are dying across the United States, going to a sports game where everything's already getting a hot dog at a stadium these days. With the it's like $10 for a $1 hot dog. Like
Right.
it's already going to be overpriced. Or I'm going to go to breakers and have breakers break it for me that are rude, charging more than what it should be charged and everything else. That's just going to kill the hobby. They're going to create a spiral that they're not going to be able to get out. So hopefully they do the right thing, and hopefully there's going to be some more news and they take care of hobby shops and they do a lot of the right things, because at the end of the day they have to take care of the consumer. That consumer is not paying absorbent amount of prices. They're not part of the hype. Your average consumer is someone that's already been in the hobby for years,
Right.
that know what the product is worth, and they're going to be the ones that are going to be here in the long run being consistent. It's not going to be these people that are going to only be here for the hype. Look at the celebrities that enter. One week you have a celebrity that comes in, they're like, oh yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that. A month later, they never talk about it again, and prices skyrocket. So hopefully they understand that and they learn from it, but who knows? We'll have to see.
Yeah, you're right. Ripping and flipping, they do. They funnel the wrong version of greed in the hobby, and it's the greed should be about the cards, and it's about the money.
Yeah.
From that standpoint. And like I said, I don't know. I just worry, and I wonder, what it's going to look like. One of the things that that irritate. One of the things that I always say on this show that is just mind-boggling to me, and Anthony's, is that we go to Culture Collision, we go to the National and everything, and there are 10, 11, 12-year-old kids with these Zion cases, and that little case is worth probably more than my entire collection, and that's just nuts.
Yeah. You know that that is a completely different other topic. That is very interesting. There are some kids out there that could possibly grind their way. They're able to flip up. They're able to sell, buy, whatever. they figured out a way to get to that point. But there's also a lot of some of these kids that are carrying these cards. They're just carrying the card for another table or another booth that said, "Hey, go try to sell this card for me." First off, if you're giving a 12-year-old kid a $200,000 card, $60,000 card, you are lost your mind.
Right.
Like I remember at the National, it's so many kids coming up. Hey, I have this Lamelo ball. It was I want 30 grand for it. 30 grand for a Lamelo ball? Do you like why? Why do you want this? Oh, the guy that I'm trying to sell it for, he said the last comps are this, this, and this. What? Like it's crazy, absolutely crazy.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. It definitely is and stuff. It's interesting. I mean, it's it's good that there are still the more genuine people in it, and I think what's starting to happen is the disingenuous people are starting to get seen more.
Oh yeah.
Where they weren't before, and they were looked at completely different for the narrative they were pushing and what they were telling everybody. Now I think you're starting to see, the more genuine people, and I think that the part that's taking off is it's the people that come across more as the normal guy, the regular guy, right? I'm just a collector. I open up stuff, and I don't think that matters. Like what value you're opening. It's the way you just realize, man, these guys are, they're genuine guys who you can tell by the looks on their face when they're opening up the cards and everything. The excitement they get, the sadness they feel when they open up a box and it's like, oh my gosh, I spent $400 on that box and the most expensive card was $25.
Oh, and it's
And it's
gut
like,
wrenching, man. It's like
yeah,
it's like I just got Rochambeau by Cartman on freaking South Park, just kicked right in the newts.
Yep.
It's rough, man. It's rough at times, but it's also the beauty of it too. The ability to this box could potentially open up a gem or a PC card or something like that.
yeah.
Um, it's part of the game, I guess.
Question: you ever open up some of the junk wax stuff on camera just to rip?
Um, so I still I don't know about junk wax. Like, there's stuff that I do off camera. Like, my girlfriend's pretty big into Pokemon still, so we rip Pokemon. Like, I'll buy a complete case of booster boxes of the new set that comes out. We'll spend the night, order in, have something playing in the background, and it's like a little date night. You open up and rip
That's awesome.
packs, have fun, stuff like that. I rip a lot of wrestling stuff behind the scenes too.
Nice.
I've recorded a couple of shorts of me opening up boxes and sped through them, but the new WWE Prism, I probably opened like 15 boxes on my own outside of the two that I've done. There's a couple times where, we do go to Walmart or Target and I do see something hanging there. I might buy one or two, but again, it's like the select product.
Right.
Almost everything I open, though, I try to open on camera. There's a lot of stuff that just doesn't make it. So there's also a comment that Ripping had. I don't know if you guys can go back up, but it was around 11:08 where he's talking about thumbnails, or they're talking about thumbnails and
Oh yeah, good call.
pulls. And this kind
That
of
one?
ties into that. Yeah. So there's a lot of content that a lot of people don't see. So again, like very transparent. We show you our losses. Obviously you guys seen plenty of videos where we get our ass
Mhm.
kicked. But there's even more videos where we get absolutely destroyed, where we're quiet a lot of the times, we're not as hyped, and I just don't post it. Don't post them at all. It's just a complete waste. Like, you'll never see them. It just because there is a sense of quality that I do want to put out there. Like,
Right.
I'm still going to show you the losses, but if the losses wasn't entertaining enough that where I could feel like people would watch the video, then we don't put it out. So, but that there's also a mixture of things, and that kind of ties into this comment. What do you feel like moves the view count for your channel the most? Your thumbnails, big pools, something else? What do you think or know keeps your audience coming back? So it's a mixture of everything.
Yep.
You see my big stupid face on all these thumbnails where I'm looking like a dork with my mouth open, and I'm like, oh my god, you don't know how many times like my girls walked in or Andrew's like, come over and he just sees me like in my mirror, like holding the phone, acting like a knucklehead. And it's part of like those reactions, those over top thumbnails are eye catching, right? So
Mhm.
there's something to the marketing piece of being eye catching. So that's one avenue. So yes, the thumbnails do help you count. Thumbnails that catches the eye quickly, whether it's right, wrong, or different, whether you might think it's stupid, dumb, cute, funny, whatever it may be, it's catching your eye. So there's one aspect of it. The big pools are another piece. The bigger the pool where we're screaming and yelling, that's why you have so many creators like, oh my gosh, we did this or did that. Oh my god, it's this. And they're high pitched, they're loud. A lot of people don't know this, but YouTube's algorithm also is voice generation algorithm, right? So it picks up on the volume of and the frequency of your voice when it's scanning your video. So when it's uploading and running the checks, it checks for your music, it checks for your pitch and your voice. If you're very monotone and you don't have anything else going, the odds of them serving up that video are slim to nil. The more over the top you are, the more loud and outrageous you are, it knows that there's something there, so it's going to generally pitch something. Then if your thumbnail matches what you're pulling, like for instance, I don't know, you guys can't see my screen, but my dashboard for the video I launched today about Flawless. It's my number one ranked video out of 10. So those of you that do YouTube, you all know about the little out of 10 ranking when you upload videos. It's
Yep.
the number one video, and within 6 hours, I've already got 11,000 views, which is 4,000 views than my second most watched video in the time frame. The impressions click through is 21%. If that impressions click through is below 5%, don't get distraught. Stop what you're doing and understand that the content that you have out and the thumbnails that you're producing are not getting people to click in. There's got to be something else that you could potentially do. Look at all that. It's all my stupid face. Then I got Andrew. So Andrew, for the longest time, refused to take selfies. So I got him doing like 3 poses. And if you notice in the like majority of the videos, he's only doing like 3 poses. And you notice I have him doing it a lot. Now, granted, I got to take a little bit more photos here.
Yeah.
But a lot of this stuff is because your titles play a role, your facial expressions play a role. If you go back up and search through search by most popular, so go back up and then in the top left, do you see that as popular next to latest?
Oh yeah.
So if you do that, this is just for long form videos. It's either a scandal, but the thumbnail and the title is what's pulling you in. And if it's not the thumbnail and the title and has all those views, we were yelling like a bunch of goofballs. So like for instance, the 2 years ago, pulling a 5,000 plus card insane FOTL Prism football. It's in the row right above it.
Yeah.
That's when Andrew said his holy S moment, right? I don't know.
There's Herbert right there.
Yeah. So even look at that. This just proves the point that YouTube listens to your voice. The number one most replayed and highest pitched clip is also the clip they hover on. So when you hover on that, YouTube automatically generates that hover.
That's awesome.
We don't get to select that. So it automatically knows that this is what people want to see. So you're automatically going to click on that video and watch it.
That's awesome.
So that's how you got to look at YouTube a little bit. YouTube's all about your data. Go into your data. Get in there, look at your analytics, see what's been working for you, learn your posting times, things like that, because your title's important, your thumbnail's important. The content that you're opening is also important. However, you also have to understand the data you're looking at. There's a lot that goes into it. Hope that helps. I could talk about it for hours. And by the way, if you scroll down a little bit, you can see my gaming stuff that I did 4 years ago that I used to hit. If you go back up, it's up there, right there to the right.
Right
right here.
To the right. Oh my god.
No.
To the left. Right
Oh,
there.
right here.
Yeah, how to stream using Elgato. So my last name is Sullivan. So I used to call myself Sully the Great One. Juice was a nickname that my friends gave me a long time ago. And that's always been my nickname off camera. And they refused to call me Sully or Sully the Great One. like for my gamer tag. They're like, dude, you're Juice. Like, I'm not calling you this. I'm like, all right, whatever. So that's why I changed it all up to Juice. But that's a glimpse into what the channel used to be.
Nice. That's really cool. A little retro Easter egg.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Cool
So
stuff.
you'd mentioned a little bit about like the future direction of the channel and stuff. You talked a little bit about the collectible app. Now, is this an app that you're actually developing yourself, or is this just something that you're like partnering with?
Yeah, no, it's 100% an app that we're co-owners of the company. We obviously I joined for more of a marketing side of things.
Yeah.
But we're part of the original team. There's a core group of us. We have engineers, we have a CEO, and we're basically think of like part of the board, right?
Nice.
Influence the marketing guy. But yeah, we're all part of it. We're all giving ideas. We're all building it. A lot of the items and stuff that we bring up is all within the 5 people that are doing it, the ideas and stuff that come from it. So yeah.
Nice, man. Is that something that you guys are like actively looking for, I guess capital, or like, is there anything like specific like that you guys are looking for as a company, like new employees or anything like that?
You know, it right now, thankfully, all of us that are participating in it. So it's funny when I started Pokemon, one of the guys who's our CEO, he was actually a moderator for me.
Oh,
And
nice.
he's an engineer. He's worked at Uber and a couple other places. But he is not this one. It's getcollectible.com.
My
You're
bad.
fine. You're fine.
That's
You're
awesome.
fine. No, you're
I just
fine.
typed in collectible.
Yeah. We're battling them right now to get ownership and landscape of that. But believe it or not, we got more downloads than them. So haha.
Screw
But
those guys. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, that's right. But no, it's a we all have the means to finance this ourselves, to keep it free and so forth. So it's a passion project. It's like us all giving back to the community. This app will always be free. Once we get sports cards added to the app, it is going to take it. Yeah, it's going to be absolutely amazing. I mean, we've already been through a couple of talks with a couple other individuals, but we're remain to keep the core team together and keep funding it ourselves and go from there. Hopefully we get to a point where we can turn it into something more, and I think we're getting there. Right, the growth has been insane. Yeah, it's just amazing.
Yeah, so it's collector without the O.
Yeah, collector without the O.
Oh,
Collect R. We're on the App Store. We're on the Android Store. We're the #1 rated collectibles app. We're in the top 100 in both. We have a ton of downloads, ton of active users. It's really great. Love it.
You just got one more download.
Thank you.
Crap, I thought I was going to ask. Damn it.
Oh, you're fine. I mean, I love talking about this stuff. This stuff is fantastic.
It's the interesting part. I mean, and the background you have. It's a great meld men together. It kind of definitely helps a lot. Having your background too.
Yeah, 100%. And I still plateau, right? I feel like I go 100 million miles an hour. I get tired. I get demotivated sometimes, but it's the fire that keeps you going. It's the knowledge that keeps you going. It's the willingness to take feedback too. Constructive feedback. I love when people leave comments and so forth. Obviously, sometimes people are really nasty, and I like to troll around with them a little bit. But a lot of the feedback, every single comment I read, it just helps you grow. And as long as you're an individual that is okay with taking criticism and willing to adapt, willing to understand that you'll never be perfect, and that you listen to, grab knowledge from people who feel like they can provide some helpful thoughts to you, and you take all that in, you'll be successful. That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah. How did you guys wind up connecting with Louisville? sports card, the card shop?
All Andrew actually. Andrew, during the pandemic, obviously we were all sitting at home and we talked about breaking. And Louisville is one of the ones I do respect a lot more. Obviously, we do a lot of work with them. But Jen would break with him a decent amount of times, and we were able to get an Eminence box from them, and that's kind of what drove us down there to start opening. And then it's been a fantastic relationships ever since that. But it was like March of 2021 is when we really went down there, and that's kind of like that type of content mixed with what we were doing from a marketing standpoint really gave us that jump start to where we were. I mean, that was a huge growth.
Because then you had the table with them at Nationals in Chicago.
Yep, and then we had the table with them at. We shared a booth, so they were able to get 2 booths at the National in Jersey, and then now we're going back to 1 for Chicago. So I'll be there again with them.
Nice.
I will be there. My son and I are coming up for sure.
Well, I can't wait to see you again, my man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to go. Not confirmed yet.
Oh, you got to try, man. Try your best.
The last few, so like I'm trying to keep the streak alive. You know, I don't want to fizzle out like the Taker did at the end there.
So one of the things I was gonna, we'll talk more offline, hopefully, about it. But I really want to start collecting championship belts.
Nice. Yeah. I got a couple NWA ones over here to the left over here.
Yeah, and
a couple of them. One second, I'll grab them.
The new Raw World Heavyweight Championship belt kind of reminded me of the old WCW belt a little bit.
Yes.
And I kind of like that. Kind of like, all right, I want to collect all the the championships belts. Probably more of all just the heavyweight ones or the world titles. But yeah, that's kind of like a little passion project I'm gonna have for myself here in the coming months and years.
Cool. That is very cool. Yeah, there's a there's a guy on Instagram. I'll try and
oh, look at that.
This one's the NWA World Tag Team Championship.
That is legit.
Yeah.
Gosh, that is so cool.
Yeah, I have another one over there too, but I have like so many like Funkos and like toys and like just random things wrapped around them. I didn't want to like pull both down. But
I appreciate you showing me, man. That's legit. That is absolutely legit. Speaking of Funkos, did you see they release Rocky Maivaia's Funko Pop?
No, I didn't.
Really?
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's limited. You guys should Google it. It just came out like a week ago.
Oh,
They're
wow.
selling like crazy.
That'd be really cool to go ahead.
But it's him and his Rocky Maivia. It's The Rock and the Rocky Maivia get up when he first started, like his debut.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, we've been going for an hour and a half. Wow. Thank you so much for your, for your time. It is definitely, much appreciated. Chat, any more questions you might have, go ahead and get them up so we can go ahead and, wrap up a little bit. Oh, wait a minute. Is Picksburgh showing something?
It's the Rocky Maivia.
Oh, wow.
There it is.
Oh, man.
It's so cool.
I had to see it when you mentioned it. I
that is very cool.
Up, so. That's awesome.
It just came out not too long ago. I'm probably going to try to get my hands on at least like a couple of them.
That's awesome.
So if you like belts, I'll put it I'll put a link in the private chat for you to go to. It's on Instagram.
Okay.
Where the heck is it? Maybe I can't get the private chat. This guy does belts. He's on Instagram and cool stuff. Cool stuff.
Those are
yeah.
ECW. Oh man.
Yeah.
ECW.
Yeah, he does all kinds of cool, and he'll do custom ones. So, like, I think some somebody said, you know, like you see this one, if you go down, there's like a YouTube one for the
Yeah.
YouTube championship, you know, so like you could have a loot box one and have the little side pieces be loot box.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because I'm working with, so we have a fantasy football league, and I'm working with a company that's making whoever wins the fantasy football league wins the belts. So the first year, it's not rigged. The first year, it was me versus Jin in the championship game. I don't know how it happened, and I ended up mopping the floor with Andrew, but it's okay. But the second year, since last year we did it. Remember when the Bills game that got suspended because of the unfortunate incident that happened
Yep.
with their player? So that
Yep.
ruined like fantasy football for a lot of individuals, which is understandable. So we decided to like split the championship because it was like the championship game. So they both won, and I got to make 2 belts for these 2 individuals on top of that. So got to make 3 belts now, and I've been trying to find the perfect. Like I want to make it cool, but it's funny you say loot box on the side. It's going to be the loot box logo on the side. It's going to be a big gold piece in the middle. It's going to be kind of a cool belt.
That's awesome, man.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, again, hey, chat, thank you so much. Thanks for the great questions. Much appreciated. You know, Juice, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and or out of your night and away from, you know, family to go ahead and be with us. We definitely, you know, appreciate you coming on with us and sharing, you know, the knowledge not only about, you know, with the hobby, but with the YouTube side and everything. It's been, you know, it's been a pleasure. So, you know, thanks a lot. Don't forget, gang. In the pinned comment is the YouTube channel. Once you go there, you can get to Twitter, Instagram, and all the other good stuff. You know that Gin and Juice are doing and stuff. So thanks a lot. Anthony, any final words?
No, I just appreciate you guys being here. Really been an honor to, get to connect and learn from you more than anything, you know what I mean? Because you're somebody that's doing basically the same thing we're doing at a higher level. So anything that we can glean from what you're doing is always wonderful for us. So just thank you for being open, honest, and willing to share.
Absolutely. And fellas, whenever you guys need any questions or anything, you know, you can always hit me up. One thing I would love to do this again. I'm going to get Andrew to come on board.
That'd be awesome.
So we'll plan out another time we can set up maybe in a couple more weeks. But I appreciate you guys also being flexible with me. I know we tried to do this again before and trying to move it and all that other stuff, but I promise it'll be better next time. But I appreciate the time, fellas.
Yeah.
Hey, we appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
So thanks everybody. Appreciate you. Don't forget, subscribe to the channels. We'll see you guys next week on Anthony's channel.